I am a bit nervous to try this, but let's see if this $12 casserole dish from Kmart can mimic a Dutch oven for our sourdough. And I thought, why not make it this week's Test It Tuesday? So if you're curious as well, then let's test it out together now. I am cheating and making this sourdough in one day, and I'm starting with 350 grams of warm water, 125 grams of sourdough starter. This was at its peak about an hour ago. Mixed together so there's no clumps of sourdough starter in the water, 530 grams of plain flour, and 15 grams of salt. Mix this together until it forms a shaggy dough, which basically means once the flour, sourdough starter, water and salt has combined. But it doesn't need to be soft and smooth like a traditional dough. And with a dampened cover, I'm going to cover this for about an hour. I'm now going to do my first set of stretch and folds. I have put a little bit of water on my hands, and I'm going to continue to stretch and fold it until I start feeling too much resistance from the dough. Cover again with a damp cloth for 30 minutes. I do another set of stretches and folds, again until there's too much resistance from the dough. Cover it and leave it for probably about 5 or 6 hours until it has doubled in size. But not doubled in size from this stretch and fold, but from when I originally mixed the dough. My dough has definitely doubled in size, so now I'm just going to stretch it out a bit, gently fold it into itself, and then shape it with about 5 or 6 of these push and pulls. Cover and set it to the side or in your fridge. And now let's get our $12 Kmart casserole dish and pop it in the oven and set it to 230 degrees for about 30 minutes. Pop my dough out onto this baking paper, score it in whatever pattern I feel like today, and now I'm going to pop it into my hot casserole dish. This handle at the top is quite tricky to grab. It would be handier if it was a little bit bigger. And now with the lid on, we're going to cook this at 230 degrees for 25 minutes. All we need to do now is remove the lid, reduce the temperature to 200 degrees and cook it for another 20 to 25 minutes. This is looking pretty promising so far. I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes inside the casserole dish to cool down, and then on my cooling rack for at least an hour before I cut it and see just how good it looks inside. It's definitely got a nice crunchy crust on the outside. And now let's slice it up and see how it is inside. Well, that's pretty impressive. I can't believe that this $12 casserole dish at Kmart has actually worked pretty good. And while the handle on the lid is a bit frustrating because it is so short and the lid is super hot so you don't want to touch it, for $12 it's a pretty good bargain. So like and save this here. Remember, you can use the $12 Kmart casserole dish as your Dutch oven, and hit the follow button if you would like more tips and tricks like Test It Tuesday that just make life that little bit easier.